Hey there, super scientists. I'm going to be walking you through the ruler activity, which is on page 7 of your lab notebook, I believe. And it's called Earth, the Water Planet. So we're going to be looking at how much water is on the Earth. So we're going to be talking about oceans and fresh water and all of Earth, because our unit right now is fresh water, but we are going to be talking about oceans later. So I'm actually going to get up and be working on the smartboard. So I'm going to leave you in my little square here, and I'm going to be talking to you from the smartboard. So hopefully you'll be able to hear me easily, and you'll be able to see what I'm writing on the screen. So here we go. All right, guys, so the first thing that we're gonna talk about is the amount of, I'm right here, make sure my pen's working, amount of Earth surface covered by land and water. So we know, and your teacher have maybe already talked about this, we know that land is about 25% of Earth. So if we just do some quick mental math, we know that water is about 75% of Earth. So what we're going to do then is we're going to convert this to the ruler, and you're going to color on the ruler to get a little bit of a visual of what that's going to look like. So if you had a ruler, how much of the ruler would be water, how much would be land? All right, so I'm going to do my math over here, and we know that when we talk about percentages in math, we can do the percent proportion, or we can change a percent to a decimal. So I'm going to kind of go back and forth there. All right, so I have 75% over 100 equals X out of, and I'm going to use 12 because there's 12 inches on a ruler, and we want to be able to draw on the entire thing. All right, so we get 100x, when we cross multiply here, equals 75 times 12, which is 900. We divide by 100 on both sides. All right, our zeros cancel out. Little math lesson embedded in science here today. And we get x is 9 inches. All right, so then we can do some pretty easy math to figure out the land. We don't actually even have to do that math, right? So if water is 9 inches, and we can write that in over on our chart here, then land is going to be 3 inches out of the 12. And if we did this math for 25%, we would come up with 3 inches. All right, so on your ruler part, what you can do is color from, we're going to go from 0 all the way at the end, and my ruler is a little bit shrunken, so you have a little bit more to kind of color in. I'm just going to outline because I need to be able to see the lines on the screen here, but you can color in with your colored pencil 0 through 9. Okay, so color that all in blue. That's going to be water on Earth. So I'm just going to write in here total water, basically. Okay, and then what you can do is color in from 9, so kind of overlap your numbers there, through 12, right? Those are going to be land. All right, so you can see on your ruler that, you know, we're talking about the whole globe, that water makes up so much more than land. All right. Okay, so let's go back to freshwater and saltwater. It says the amount of Earth's surface covered by fresh and salty water. All right, so here's the tricky part about the math this time, is that we are, we're not doing it out of 12 this time. We are doing it out of the amount of water on the Earth. So we know that the percentage of water, so the percentage of 9 inches, so out of this 75% water, 97% of that, about, is salt water, and about 3% is fresh water. Now, some sources may say 98%, other sources may say 4% fresh water. It depends on what, book you're looking at or what resource, but it's pretty close to those numbers, no matter where you look. All right, so again, we need to calculate how it's going to look on the ruler. So we're going to go 97% out of 100% of water on Earth. And instead of 9 this time, we're doing it out of 9 inches because our ruler is only 9 inches for the water part. All right, so we do our cross multiplication again. 100x equals 97 times 9, which is 873. You can be using your calculator at the same time. When I divide it by 100, I just move the decimal over 2 places. So x is equal to 8.73. All right, and so we're going to have to do a little bit of estimating on our ruler here. So when you think about that, our ruler is fraction based, right? So our standard ruler. So the closest inch marker on there is going to be 8 3/4. 8.75 would be the closest. So I'm going to write 8.75 equals 8 3/4 inches. And you can write that in the box. It's just my pen is a little bit thicker here. All right, so if we do our math just to double check 3%, a different way of doing it would be to multiply. We could change 3% to a decimal, which is 0.03 times 9. We do our math. 9 times 3 is 27, and so it's 0.27. And our closest fraction to that would be 1/4, or 0.25. So the fraction we're going to put here is 1/4. All right, so then on your ruler, we can just make some little brackets. All right, so salt water is going to go for the first 8 3/4. So I'm going to make little tick marks here because you can't see me at the board. But so we're at 8 inches here. This is 1/4, 2/4, which is a half, and then 3/4. So I'm going to draw a line here at 8 3/4, and I'm just going to make a little bracket that goes all the way down to the bottom here. And that is my salt water. You have more room to write this in on your paper. Okay, and then just this little sliver here from 8 3/4 to 9 inches, which is about 1/4, just this portion, okay, is, and you want to mark it somehow, fresh water. And again, sorry about kind of being sloppy here, but I don't have too much room on my smartboard. All right, the last part is our ocean. So what portion of the earth is made up of oceans? So we can see on the ruler that salt water is most of the earth, and most of that is oceans. So from the website that's in this little box right here at the top, this is where we got these percentages here. So the Pacific Ocean is about 30.5% of Earth. That's the largest ocean. The Atlantic Ocean is about 20.5%. The Indian Ocean is about 14.4% of Earth's water. The Arctic Ocean is about 2.8%, and the Southern Ocean is about 4%. All right, so I'll read those numbers off again just so that you can make sure that you read my writing correctly. 30.5, 20.5, 14.4, 2.8, and 4%. So now we have to do all the calculations to get those amount of inches, which are all going to be different. So to save a little bit of time, I'm going to do the multiplication method because I think that saves a little bit of time. All right, so 30.4 as a decimal is going to be 0.305, and we're going to multiply by 12, and you should be doing this on your calculator because it's good practice with that calculator. So we do that, and we get 3.66. All right, so what we need to do is kind of think about what fraction is closest to that. All right, so if we, in the calculator, if you go ahead and you do 5 divided by 8, go ahead and do that in your calculator. All right, you get about 0.625. All right, so we're pretty close, right? And so that's probably going to be our closest fraction. 3/8 is about 0.375. And that might help with a future one, right? 3/4 is 0.75. Some of these are kind of easy, but 5/8 not as, common. We might not know that in our heads, okay? So we've got, for inches here, it's going to be 3 5/8 for the Pacific Ocean. All right, I'm going to do all the math, and then I'm going to draw it in on the ruler because I think that might make it easy. All right, 20.5. All right, I'm going to leave my fractions there as kind of a reference. So doing the Atlantic Ocean, 20.5 is going to be 0.205 as a decimal times 12 inches. You might have been wondering where I got the 12 from. 12 inches of the ruler, okay? And that comes out to be 2.46. All right, 2.46. 0.46 is pretty close to 0.5, so we're going to just estimate here a little bit. So this is going to be 2.5 inches. So that one's a little bit easier. All right, let's keep going. We've got Indian Ocean. 14.4 is going to be 0.144 times 12 inches. All right, and we get 1.728. All right, that should look kind of familiar. That's probably pretty close to 0.75, which is 3/4. So that's the closest is going to be 1 3/4 inches for the Indian Ocean. All right, 2.8 is going to be 0.028 times 12 inches of the ruler. We're going to find out what portion of the ruler this is. We get 0.336. 0.336. Closest we're going to get is 0.375, so about 3/8 inches. All right, and then the last one we've got is the Southern Ocean. 4% is going to be 0.04 times 12 inches, and we get 0.48, which is pretty close to 1/2. So the Southern Ocean is going to be 1/2 an inch. All right, so the tricky part comes when we go to mark these on our ruler. All right, so 3 5/8. Remember the eighths are the smallest little lines you have there on your paper. So we're going to start at 0. We're going to go to 3, and we're going to count eighths here. So we're going to count 5 of them. So the little lines, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the 5th line there is 3 5/8. All right, I'm going to draw a little bracket, and that's going to be our Pacific Ocean. All right, now here we're not going from 0 anymore. We're going from where we are. So it's going to be a little tricky to count. All right, so we need to go 2.5 inches. So we want to count 8 little lines for each inch. Or you can maybe see where you're at on your line and jump a whole inch. So we want to go 1 whole inch, right? 2 whole inches, and then we want to go a half. So we want to go 4 little lines. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you should be at 6 1/8. 6 1/8. All right, and that's going to be your Atlantic Ocean, the next biggest ocean. I'm going to erase this here so we can write in our ocean names. All right, starting at 6 1/8, we're going to go, for the Indian Ocean, we need to go 1 3/4. So we're going to jump 1 whole inch, and then we're going to go 3/4. And so how many eighths is that, right? So times 2 times 2, we want to count 6 eighths, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're at 7 7/8 is that little line right before the 8-inch mark. And that is going to be your Indian Ocean. All right, we're getting smaller here. We got to go 3/8 inches. So that's just 3 little marks from our last mark. 1, 2, 3/8 inches. So we're at 8 1/4. And that is your Arctic Ocean. And then 1/2 inch. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 little lines, which worked out perfectly, is going to be your Southern Ocean. All right, now, when we add up these ocean numbers, and I'm going to come back down, sit back down, and kind of show you my paper just at the bottom. I don't know if I can actually have you see my math, but I've added up all the decimals for the ocean here, and they total up to be 8.664. And this might actually be backwards for you, so I apologize. And then, so if we subtract 8.75, which should be our total amount of salt water, minus 8.664, right, we get 0.086. So the question is, where is that 0.086 amount of water? So if I go to just a digital version, and that messed it up, I apologize. All right, guys, sorry about that. So if I show you my digital version, right, there is 0.086 left of salt water that is not accounted for. And so where is that other about, 1% if we round it up? So on the question at your bottom, the bottom of your paper, it says how much of the saltwater region of the water is not accounted for. You want to put 0.086. And then what do you think this represents? So there is other salt water on the earth, not a whole lot of it, just a little bit in some seas and some saltwater lakes. And so that's where that little bit of other salt water is. So I hope this has helped you complete that activity on page 7. Thanks.